What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to Donald Trump, the leader of my country, once again asking Canada to join the United States and become the 51st state. You know, for a while there, I really thought that the trolling had stopped. Like, it's been a good while since Trump has actually mentioned this cockamamie 51st state thing that he was really going on about like a couple weeks ago. It's been a while, but no. Apparently, on election day in Canada, Trump, he was back on the toilet. He was back at his favorite spot where he does all his texting and social media posts, back in the bathroom on the toilet. That's where he likes to do it, I hear. And what exactly did he say? He said, Trump implies Canadians should vote for him on election day. Ah! Did he really say that? I got to see the post. I have to see the post. He said to vote for him? Is that what he said? Can anyone confirm or deny this? No freaking way. How incredibly disrespectful, for one thing. Like, putting aside the fact that he's saying, like, vote me to be prime minister and lead your country and take it over and become part of the United States. Vote for that. Like, beside how dumb that is, like, just the disrespect of saying something like that during Canada's election day. Somehow I'm not totally shocked, but does he even know how the Canadian election works? Like, you don't just vote. He probably doesn't really understand. I don't know, but maybe he doesn't understand. It's not like you guys directly do like a direct vote for the prime minister, like how we sort of do like one dedicated election for the president. You guys are like voting for seats and MPs and ridings, and party sizes determine the prime minister. I'm not sure if he knows about that. If he's saying something like, vote for me for prime minister. Like, okay. Oh, here it is. Good luck to the great people of Canada. Elect the man who has the strength and wisdom to cut your taxes in half, increase your military power for free. Hey guys, it's free. To the highest level in the world, have your car, steel, aluminum, lumber, energy, and all other businesses quadruple. I like the use of his caps, all caps, quadruple in size, with zero tariffs or taxes. We could have zero tariffs right now, like on Canada. We could just decide to do that now. We don't have to Canada, you don't have to join us. We could just, okay. If Canada becomes the cherished 51st state of the United States of America, no more artificially drawn line. Oh my God. From many years ago, look how beautiful this landmass would be. I mean, if there's one positive thing to pull from this, it's like, you might be a Canadian who's kind of triggered or annoyed or even scared at all this rhetoric from our president, Trump, about having Canada be part of the United States. But you gotta admit, the man is very complimentary of Canada. Like, you could almost interpret this as a compliment or something if it wasn't so horrifying. He's like, basically wants Canada because he thinks it's great, from what I can tell. Free access, no border, all positives. It was meant to be. America can no longer subsidize Canada with the hundreds of billions of dollars. What is he talking about, this subsidizing Canada stuff? He said that before as well. Does he literally mean because the United States does trade with Canada, we trade with you, we purchase some of your goods, and we get that in return for money. That you're taking advantage of us? That's how buying stuff works, right? None of it. Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. We have a video here? Oh, okay.
It is election day in Canada, and one of the major issues driving people to the polls is trade and our relationship with the United States. This morning, President Donald Trump is weighing in on the election, sending out a message on his social media platform. And the CBC's Richard Madden joins us now live from Washington with more on all of that. Okay, Richard, let's first talk about what Trump is saying on Canada's election day.
Yeah, President
on election day. On election day.
To election day in Canada. But just for context, we have seen American politicians publicly endorse Canadian leaders in the past through their social media accounts. Of course, that's...
I don't think he endorsed any Canadian leader. I'm not even sure Trump, during the whole course of this Canadian election, really made it clear if he was for or against any candidate in particular in Canada.
Raise questions of election interference or meddling. So in the grand scheme of things, it isn't out of the ordinary. And President Donald Trump is injecting himself into Canada's election with a bit of trolling. Now, he didn't specifically endorse any candidate by name. Instead, he chose to push his 51st state nonsense on his social media site. Just let's pull it up now so we can read it.
Here we go.
Good luck to the great...
Yeah, okay, we read this already. Good luck, elect the man who has the strength and wisdom. How are you saying that about yourself, by the way? Like, what? I reacted to Mark Carney's victory speech the other day. And he spent like 10 minutes talking about like being humble or humility. And then you got Trump here who's like, elect the man with the strength and wisdom and the big brain power. Like, okay.
Years ago. Now, Trump goes on to falsely claim that the U.S. subsidizes Canada, writing, "It makes no sense unless Canada is a state." Now, just yesterday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio sidestepped a direct question whether his department has, quote, taken any steps to carry out Trump's annexation plans. Here's what he had to say.
So this is an American government official in the Trump administration answering questions about, like, is there a plan for Trump and the government and the United States to annex Canada? So I didn't see this. I didn't know about this.
They're going to have a new leader, and we'll deal with the new leadership of Canada. There are many things we work with cooperatively on Canada on, but we actually don't like the way they've treated us when it comes to trade. And the president has made that.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What do they mean? We don't like the way Canada has treated us in regards to trade. What does that mean? We don't like that you have done trade? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows.
That point when he responded to the previous prime minister in regards to this.
So does the U.S. still want to make Canada the 51st state?
I think the president has stated repeatedly he thinks Canada would be better off as a state.
Okay.
This has to stop. Like, it's gone. It already gone too far. But, like, seriously? Seriously? Enough. Like, seriously. I don't know if things are going to change now. I don't know if Trump was in super troll mode because of the Canadian election coming up, the not knowing what the leadership's going to look like, his dislike for Justin Trudeau. I don't know. Or just that he seriously, like, wants Canada to be part of the United States. But it's like, enough. Seriously. Like, it's gone way too far. And most Americans don't support this, by the way. Like, I'm sure Canadians must be wondering what Americans think about this. Because it's scary enough that our president is, like, really advocating for this. But I know Canadians are not happy about this, to say the least. What do Americans think about this? I think I even have a poll about this. Yeah, the Angus Reid Institute in Canada, nonprofit, did some research about this. I didn't see this yet. Canada is a 51st state. 4 in 5 Americans say a merger would be up to Canadians. Okay, so the first part is, if there was a merger, most Americans would want it to be up to Canadians, of course. Four out of 5. This should be 5 out of 5. That's a little scary. Like, it should be 5 out of 5 Americans should say, well, Canada, if that's what you want. 90% of Canadians say no to this. Do you think Trump is serious about Canada becoming the 51st state? I think he's serious about it. He's talked way too much about this and advocated way too much for this to not be serious about it. I'm sure he's serious. The question is, how does he want it to happen? That's the million-dollar question, right? Canadians say it's a real ambition, 32%. 50% of Canadians say it's trolling. It could be trolling, but the trolling has gone on it's like too far at this point. Like, is he really this committed to a bit? Like a joke? I don't know. 16% say can't be sure. That's the real answer. That should be 100% of all of us. Like, I have no idea. Not sure. 22% of Americans think it's real ambition. 44% say it's trolling. 32% say can't be sure. More Americans say we're not sure because we know our president well. We can never be sure of anything, what is real and what's not. Americans are twice as likely to oppose Canada joining the nation than support it. The idea of Canada joining the United States has little to no traction, except with some conservatives. That's what I've seen just in my daily, day-to-day American life. No one's talking about this. This is not a topic of conversation. This is not a day-to-day discussion we're having in America, just like casually with friends, or when you go out and do things, hang out with different people, or go online on social media. This is just not something Americans are even entertaining or thinking about. That's the honest truth. I think it's actually much more of a, what's the word? Scandal, you could say, in Canada. You guys are taking it, because you're the target of it. It's kind of sick in a way. In America, like, we're the aggressor. We're the one doing it. Our president is the one saying it. We're not under threat of being taken over by some other country. So a lot of Americans, like, just don't even think about this twice. Canadians, really, you're the ones who have to worry about, is this true? Is it trolling? Does he mean military action? Does he mean economic damage to it? What? You guys have to worry about it. So Canadians have to put a lot more thought and, like, consideration into this and actually worry about it. Level of support for Canada joining the U.S. 90% of Canadians oppose. That makes sense to me. Americans. 50% of Americans oppose it on its face. 50% say, we would not want Canada to join us under any circumstance, even peaceful. 25% support. That could just be Americans who like Canada, who are like, yeah, Canada, cool, join us, great, we'll be one country. It's not even necessarily in an aggressive way. It's just the 25% that support it. 26% can't be sure. If Canada does join, if Canada joins the United States, 3/4, 77% of Americans say it should be by Canada's choice. 5% of Americans say the result of pressure. I guess that means, like, the tariffs and economic and political pressure. 1% of Americans say military force. So there's 1% of Americans who are just out of their mind. Crazy. I think that's just, like, average for the planet Earth. Like, 1% of your population, or hopefully less. That's 1 out of 100 people. Jeez. 1% of people might just be not okay, not doing okay. And if you support military force as an American to annex Canada, you're out of your mind. quite frankly. And like, that's horrible. I hope it's less than 1%, honestly. But anyway, 77 or more percent of Americans say this should totally be Canada's choice. And a lot of Americans don't even want Canada to join America, like, even peacefully. And 90% of Canadians don't want it either. This is not happening. It's not happening. Forget it. Yeah, so I thought that would be interesting. This was like interesting for me, certainly, and for Canadians, like just wondering where Americans stand on all of this. Like, I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, as far as this trolling goes, America would never, ever, ever, ever support military action, like a war or a takeover by force of Canada. I still believe that, true, like wholeheartedly. And I think a lot of Americans would say that as well. So for what that's worth.
Okay, so as I noted earlier, it's not unusual for a U.S. politician to weigh in on a Canadian election. Former President Barack Obama endorsed Justin Trudeau. Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders endorsed the NDP. And now we have Trump essentially endorsing himself. He's certainly not on the ballot in Canada, but he's definitely become a talking point and in some ways the elephant in the room.
And it's not the only message that we've heard come out of the White House today. This morning, the White House held a press conference. What did we hear on that front?
Yeah, so the White House is marking a key milestone because tomorrow marks Trump's first 100 days in office of his second term. So
Oh yeah, 100 days. Like, I don't know if how much more of this we have to listen to, but yeah, 100 days in office. Trump's approval rating is so down. I think it's at like 40% or something. Oh yeah, here we go. 41% approval. That is so bad. That's like the worst he's ever had. That's horrible approval rating. And it honestly doesn't have anything to do with like the Canada stuff. It's just like it does actually. The tariff stuff. But the tariffs, when it was just America, Canada tariffs, a lot of Americans were like, oh, okay, we'll see how this goes. Is this a thing? Is this smart? Now that it's like tariffs on the entire planet, and especially China, well, the tariffs against the world has been paused for like 90 days. So we'll see what happens there. Tariffs against China have just gone out of control crazy, and we're literally about to see the ramifications of that from what I've heard. The docks and the ports, the shipping containers coming in empty from China. A lot of businesses in the United States depend on selling goods from China. That's a lot of American businesses, especially on Amazon, from what I understand. And the trade war we've gotten into with China, as well as Canada, but right now in America, the big point of contention with us as a country is America versus China. That is just, it's ruining us, and we're literally about to see like the true ramifications of that. And it has made Trump extremely unpopular because this was supposed to be some kind of big brain, genius, tariff, economic plan that he swears is 1,000 IQ genius move. But we're not. All that's happened is the stock market has gone down and everything costs more and everyone hates us. So, like, go figure. That makes you unpopular.
All week, the White House plans to highlight their greatest hits, their policy wins from their perspective. And this morning, border czar Tom Homan promoted the administration's record on immigration, where he dismissed criticisms of his mass deportations rollout, shipping migrants to a giant mega prison in El Salvador.
Yeah, I did a video about the Canadian woman being detained in the United States for a work visa for 12 days, and Trump is popular on the immigration thing. I'll give him that. In the United States, that's like the one win he has. The illegal immigration, particularly from our southern border, from Mexico into the United States, was at record highs. He came into office and it's at record lows. That's true. I'll give him that. It's actually that was like the number one issue that got him elected as president of the United States again. He did from day one. He did quash that. To be fair, that's not even an issue in the United States. We don't even talk about like illegal immigration influx from Mexico. Like we don't even talk about that anymore. So I'll give him that, I guess.
Management. But perhaps the only bright spot is that Trump is polling better than congressional Democrats on the issue of trust. Now, tomorrow, Trump will hold a rally in Battle.
Trust. I trust. I have no idea what he's doing. Anything else here? Oh, wait a minute. When asked in a recent interview with Time Magazine whether he is just trolling when talking about Canada as a 51st state, Trump responded, "Actually, no, I'm not." What? I mean, what can you even take away from that? Besides, like, take him at his word. He's not, if there's any Americans, going back to that poll that said, like, is Donald Trump serious about Canada becoming the 51st state? 22% of Americans think it's serious. It's like he's literally saying in an interview, I am not trolling. Canada is interesting. I say the only way this thing works is for Canada become a U.S. state. That should be 100% of people in everywhere should think he's telling the truth. He's literally saying in an interview, I mean it, I'm not trolling. That's horrifying. I mean, to be clear, there's two sides of this. It's disrespectful. What is horrifying is if he's implying that this is going to happen by force. That's horrifying. I don't think he's really implied that we'd ever annex Canada by force, by military force or something. He's never come out and said that. Thank God. That would be like, I don't even want to think about God willing that day never comes. For now, it's just him saying, come on, Canada, come on, join us. From the toilet, sitting on the toilet, come on, join us. Okay, I gotta stop. I'm getting out of hand here, which is just super disrespectful, super out of touch. Americans are annoyed. Canadians are beyond annoyed. And I saw that he had posted something about this on Canada's election day. So you guys elected Mark Carney, largely in part because he is going to be the man representing Canada taking on Donald Trump. I think in the next few days, Carney will visit the White House within the next week. Wow. Trump says he's a nice gentleman, by the way. You never know when Trump is going to, decide to like you. Trump seems to like Mark Carney. He's going to visit within the next week or less. Our countries are going to chart a new way forward. I really hope so. I think we're going to have a great relationship, said Trump. Carney called me up yesterday. He said, let's make a deal. Hey! We're gonna begin negotiations because it's a new Canadian leadership. What is this?
We're going to Washington now. The U.S. president is giving.
Canada ran against not only against the Conservatives but also against you. Yesterday, yesterday he spoke about American betrayal. Are you interested in rebuilding relations with Canada, and if so, how?
No, well, I think we're going to have a great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, "Let's make a deal." He was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least.
Why is he talking in the third person? You're Trump. That's you. Why are you talking like that? Third person. What the heck?
That one. I actually think the conservative hated me much more than the so-called liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. Couldn't have been nicer, and I congratulated him. It was a very mixed signal because it's almost even which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race. But he's a very nice gentleman, and he's going to come to the White House very shortly, within the next week or less.
Wow. That'll be interesting, won't it? Right. So, Prime Minister Mark Carney, he's the guy. He's going to be working on the relationship between the United States and Canada with Donald Trump. We're going to see what's going to happen. Hopefully, this kind of changes the trajectory we've been on. And I hope the best for our two countries and our relationship. I really do. But there you go. I just wanted to take a look at this because I couldn't believe there was more. I thought the 51st state thing was like put to rest. And with the new Canadian election, and it was like a fresh start. And it's like, wow, he really said it again. Really. So yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. If you're Canadian, what are your thoughts on all of this? You're the ones in this situation. We're a part of it. We caused it. And what are you guys thinking with what Donald Trump has said and the relationship between Canada and the United States now and going forward and this 51st state talk? That'd be really great to hear your thoughts on that. So if you enjoyed this, also feel free to subscribe if you want more videos like this, me reacting to Canada, learning about Canadian culture, seeing Canadian things I've never seen before. Feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.